Hey Yogi, welcome to this mellow flow practice. If you're new here, I'm welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. I love practicing with you on YouTube. Before we jump into this mellow flow practice, I always say this, but if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do. It just helps me to grow in this massive universe that is YouTube. And if you want to let me know how you got on and tag me in your practice, then you can do over on Instagram on @Riri's Yoga Channel. Okay, so for this flow, it's just going to be super mellow, obviously, as per the title, but I do have some props. None are going to be super essential, but they're just going to make the journey more mellow. So 2 blocks, if you have them, and a blanket. Have the blocks towards the top of your mat, kind of in hands distance for down dog. And then if you've got a blanket, take it. Open it up a little so that we can roll it into a little bit of a sausage, and then come towards the back of your mat. And we're going to come into a child's pose, but we're going to have the blanket kind of in between the chest and the thighs. So take the knees pretty wide here, have the big toes touch, and then have your blanket come across you. And you can have this pretty thin or pretty thick, it just depends how you feel. And then lean forward, so you're kind of leaning into the blanket, then reach the arms forward and come into your child's pose, Balasana. So if you've gone for a really thick, like big blanket, you might need to loosen the thickness or alleviate the thickness because it might feel quite intense on the abdomen. So just modulate that here. Let the head go heavy if that feels nice. And just notice how it feels to have the blanket kind of in the way. And just settle in here. Just arrive in Balasana. Child's pose. Slowly start to take control of your breath. Take it out of autopilot and just start to, be mindful of how you're breathing. There's no fancy pranayama needed here, but, just try to make your inhales and your exhales really intentional. You've already set your intention that you're going to move your body, hopefully with love and kindness. So now just set the intention that you're also going to play the breath with love and kindness. And by that, I just mean you're going to bring in as much air as you can. And then exhale anything you don't need completely. Nice. From here, slowly come up. Walk your hands back towards you so you can sit upright. Now let's remove the blanket and come back into child's pose. So all of a sudden for me, this is a very different experience. I hope it is for you too. So just allow yourself to melt as deep as you would like, but just notice if now you feel all of a sudden like you have just so much more space within the front of your hip, maybe in the abdomen. I certainly do. And just notice if the ground just feels a lot closer now. Maybe you could even take your fingertips up onto the blocks in front of you if you had them, and just stretch through your underarms, through the armpits, and see if you can kind of push your hips backwards at the same time that you're sending your fingertips forward. So you feel like you're really stretching through your arms and stretching all through the side of the body. Keep that breath under your control. So take it out of autopilot. Really try to just inhale strongly and deeply and exhale anything you don't need.
If it gets too intense on the arms, come off the blocks with the fingers and come back down. And again, notice if your arms now feel a bit longer. If you did that, mine certainly do. So we're just trying to move through different spaces and explore how adding in the props make us feel. Slowly walk the hands all the way back up to the legs again, sitting up here. And then from here, we're going to do something similar with the blanket. So come up onto your shins, tuck your toes under. Now, this may feel quite intense, again, like Balasana. So you'll have to modulate this to suit your kind of geometry. But try to have the blanket right up behind your knees and then sit back. Oh, this is quite intense for me. I know this is billed as mellow flow, wasn't it? But I promise we won't be here for too long. So you've just got the blanket there to just kind of add a little bit of kind of height so that your toes are working a bit harder. Maybe your legs are working a bit harder, but try and sit up and out of it all. Let your hands come onto your thighs here. Drop your shoulder blades down. Maybe even relax the jaw if you're sort of like, oh, I don't like this. And if that's your reaction, that's cool, because that's how I feel about it. We're just going to take 3 long breaths here. So deeply inhale. And then long exhale. Deeply inhale. And long exhale. Last one, stick with me, you've got this. Inhale, squeeze your glutes, really push into your toes. See if you can sit tall, drop your shoulders down, pull your chin back. And then exhale. Beautiful. Now we get the nice part. So lift up off your blanket, move your blanket out of the way, and then sit all the way back onto the heels. This just feels, heavenly in comparison. So, of course, if this is getting too much on the feet, then untuck the toes and sit onto the heels. But I just want you to now have a moment, maybe 4 or 5 more breaths where we feel that kind of different depth within the flexion of the knee, within the bending of the knee, now that we don't have the blanket in the way. And then from this position, just curl your tail under a little bit so you can sit nice and tall. Drop your shoulders down. Notice if your chin always comes forward a little bit and pull it back in. Try and keep everything just nice and straight up and down in the body. Tune back into your long breath where you're in control. Maybe you never left it. Maybe you're like, I'm breathing as you're just chatting away in these deep, long breaths. If that's the case, amazing. If not, and you've kind of fallen back into a shorter breath cadence, let's just pull it back into long breaths to finish in this spot. Nice, blink the eyes open. From here, take your right fingertips behind you, and as we lift up off the feet, we're going to sweep the left arm around so it comes over towards the right shoulder and just lift up. As you exhale, drop the butt back to the heels, switch sides. So left fingertips behind you, right arm swings along to lift you up. And then just take a couple more each side. So swing around, plant right fingertips, sweep up. I always feel like a ballerina here. I don't know why. Maybe you do too. Left fingertips down, sweep up. Or maybe just a very elegant dancer, which I am absolutely not. And then exhale, back to the center. Nice. This time, grab your blanket. We're not doing any torturous stuff with the blanket, but just take it out. so that you've got padding on your knees as we're moving through our little mellow flow. So just have it kind of where your knees would land for tabletop or for other positions. And then let's come into tabletop. So hands onto the blocks if you've got them. Tuck the toes, because we have actually worked the toes a little bit. And then we'll take just a few rounds of cat-cow here. So inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest. Exhale, push into the blocks, come into cat pose. Inhale, pull and wave the spine into cow. Exhale to cat. Just take a couple more on your own. And go at the kind of pace of your own breath. Remembering that we're looking for that kind, long and loving inhales and exhales. So that we nourish the body as much as we can in these moments. Finish up the round that you are on. And meet me back in a tabletop position. Nice. From here, take your right knee, lift it up in towards your chest, and plant your right foot outside of your right hand. You may need to scoot the left knee back a little bit here. And feel free to raise the height of the blocks if you need to, or to come onto spidey fingers. But we're just literally going to pulse a little bit here, just to get into that left hip a little bit. So if you're looking for a bit more, you could lift the left knee. But of course, you know, this is a chilled vibe. So if you're wanting to keep that left knee down, that's awesome. So little pulses here, maybe forwards and back if you lifted the knee, up and down if you have the knee grounded. And then from here, tuck your back toes, ground the knee if it's not, start to straighten through your right leg and pull your right thigh back underneath you and just bow down here. So, you know, raise the blocks up, remove the blocks if you don't feel that you need them, whatever is going to serve you. Pull the right toes back. So you're really stretching through the whole of the back of that right leg. Inhale, rebend that right knee, come forward, plant the right foot, and then kick your left foot over to the right. You can keep your hand onto the right block here, and then reach your left arm up, coming into this half Parsvakonasana. Exhale slowly, left hand back down. Bring the left foot back in line, and then again you're going to come into that half split. So pull the right thigh bone underneath you, pull the right toes back. If you want to here, you could take your hands off the block, walk them over to the right just to get a little bit of different sensation, but keep pulling the right thigh bone back under you and driving the right heel into the mat. Always have a soft bend in the right knee if that feels better than just locking out, which it almost always will, because then you've got like a bit more compression between your right hip and your right thigh. From here, come back to where the center is for you. And then we're going to sit all the way back. So you might have to drag your right foot down. Keep your hands on the blocks for as long as you can and sit back down onto the left heel. You can keep looking long here, or you can just bow the head, feeling a nice stretch, hopefully through that right leg. Again, we're going to take that option to just twist over. So if you want to, you can walk your hands over, maybe catch left hand onto the right foot. Right hand can go out to the side and just take a gentle twist here. Come back to center. Find your way back to bend the right knee. And come back to where we started, and then take your right knee back underneath you. Let's flush that out with a couple of cat-cows. So inhale through to your cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale to count. Exhale to count. Inhale back to neutral. Drive your left knee into the chest this time, and then step left foot outside of your left hand. And again here you might want to wiggle, I was going to say walk, but it kind of came out wrong. Wiggle your right knee backwards so that you can just get into that front of the right hip. And you feel free to just have a little pulse here with the knee on the ground. Of course, if you wanted the option to lift the knee, then you're going to rock forwards and back as well as up and down. So you're just getting a little bit of work into that front right hip there, the right hip flexor. Nice. Drop the right knee down. From here, let's come back into that half split. So start to pull the left thigh bone underneath you. And then you can just bow down if that feels nice. Keep flexing through the left toes. And then from here, rebend the left knee. Kick the right foot out towards the left side of your mat. Left hand can stay down as we reach the right arm up for this half Parsvarkanasana. Keep sending your left knee wide. So use your left arm to sort of open through that hip more. And then gently, right hand will come back down, square off, bring the right foot back to the beginning, and then we'll come back into that half split again. This time, if you want a little bit of the twist again, you're going to come over to the left. Keep pulling that left thigh bone back, flexing through the left toes. It's just going to help you get more out of the stretch. Gently come back to the center. Again, we're going to come all the way. I keep dragging my mat with me back to sit onto the heel. You can keep the toes tucked or untucked. And then again, we can just fold down. Hands can be on the blocks, they can be on the mat. Whatever is going to get you so that you feel like you're really moving into the depth of the stretch. Again here, if you want to take the twist, left fingertips behind you, right hand onto the outside of the left foot, and then take that twist. Slowly back to the center. And then gently make your way back, bend through that left knee, plant the left foot, take the left knee back to meet the right. And then just have a little swivel here. So just circling through the hips, maybe swinging the shoulders up and over the arms, just getting into the wrists a little bit, moving through the whole spine. Make the movement kind of feel just whatever you need. Maybe that's more cat-cow, maybe that's kind of just rolling the torso around. If you do roll the torso, try to go both sides, just to be even. Nice, and then from here, plant your hands into the blocks, tuck your toes, find downward facing dog. And just notice if this down dog feels a little bit more available because we have the blocks to help our arms just be a little bit longer, which is always welcome if you're someone like me with really long legs. Nice, from here, reach your right leg up and bend that knee. And we're just going to take a few hip circles here. So circling one way and then the other way. Then from here, right knee comes into the chest, roll forward. The right foot's going to go next to the right hand on the inside, so the inside of the block. Drop your left knee down. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Low lunge. Exhale, open to the right. Let your left hand come to the right thigh And your right hand goes somewhere towards the back of the left leg. Inhale, back to the center, reach up. Exhale, cactus your arms, pull your elbows down. Inhale here, and then exhale, turn with the cactus to the right. Try and make the turn come from your mid-back. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, hands to the blocks, tuck the back toes, and then lift to work to straighten through both legs, coming into a modified pyramid here. Keep the back heel lifted. It's not traditional pyramid. Again, if you want a bit more, you can take that twist. So the hands will come across to the right. Keep pulling the right thigh back under you, lifting the right toes up if that feels good. Then replant the hands if you came off the blocks. Rebend and flatten that right foot as you bend the right knee. And then come up into a high lunge. Nice. Take an inhale here, grow tall. As you exhale, open up to the right, same as we did. So left hand towards the right knee or the right thigh, and then right hand just seeking somewhere on the left leg. Inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, cactus the arms, pull them down. Inhale here. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, back to center. Plant the hands down. Step the right foot back to meet the left, down dog. Nice, let's even out the sides. So left leg will lift, bend the left knee and open the hip and just take 1 or 2 hip circles here. Nice, and then bring that left knee into the chest, ripple forward and left foot to the inside of that left hand. Drop the right knee. Inhale, come into that Anjaneyasana here, low lunge, really reaching up through the fingers. As you exhale, we'll twist again. So right arm, so twist into the left, right arm to the outside of the left leg. Left hand is just seeking for something behind you, maybe looking over the left shoulder. Inhale, back to the center, reach the arms up. Exhale, cactus your arms, pull your elbows down. Inhale up the middle where you are. Exhale, turn to the left. And try and make the turn come from your mid-back. It's so easy to kind of just give everything up. Try and squeeze the inner thighs together as you turn left. Inhale, back to the middle. Exhale, plant the hands. Tuck the back toes if they're not, and then lift the hips high, working your way into that modified pyramid. Keep the back heel lifted. Pull that left thigh bone back under you. If you want, you can walk the hands over to the left, but just keep mindfully pulling that left thigh back. Feeling the twist here. Inhale, back to center, hands back on the blocks. Bend the left knee, plant the left foot. And then rise up into that high lunge. It's okay if it's a bit wobbly. Inhale here. And then exhale, open to the left. Again, we're going to try and have the right hand outside the left leg. And the left hand somewhere on the right. Inhale, back to the middle. Exhale, cactus the arms. Inhale where you are. Exhale to the left. Make the twist come from the middle of the spine. Inhale back to center. And then hands to the mat. Gently step that left foot back to meet the right. From here, drop your knees to the mat. Push your butt back towards your heels, look forward, and then pull yourself through your blocks, through your arms, and come into upward facing dog. Drop the knees, push back to child's pose.
2 more of those. So look long. Pull your body through your arms and your blocks. Push into your hands. Come into upward facing dog. Drop your knees. Push round through your upper back as you come through cat pose to child's pose. Last one. Look long. Pull as you bend your elbows. Pull your body through your arms. Lift into upward facing dog. Then drop the knees. Start to pull everything in towards the middle as you come into cat pose. And then push back. Child's pose. Nice. Slowly walk the hands off your blocks. Come to sit onto the heels, sitting tall just for a moment. And then gently come onto your butt just so that you can move off your blanket so that we can readjust the blanket. So folding the blanket and then rolling it. Don't worry, we're not going to do the bits that we did at the beginning, but we are going to use the blanket to add a little bit of height onto the backs of the knees. So before we lay down, you're going to take one block and have it so that it's kind of going in the same direction as your mat in the middle. That's where your spine will go. And then the other block is going to have turn to be horizontal for your head. And we're just going to have to fidget, obviously, but we're just going to lie back on the block. So you want your spine onto the block, and then you want your head onto a block, and your shoulder blades are just going to fall off that block, and then open up the arms, lift the heart up towards the sky as the block does the work for you. And then just make sure that you've got the blanket underneath your knees. It's just to soften really through the low body. And then come into Shavasana. If having the blocks on underneath your spine is just too much, of course remove them. That's absolutely fine. It's just an offering really. It might feel nice to just open up through the airways. Close the eyes, or keep the gaze super soft. Let go of everything that you might be holding on to, whether that's physically or mentally. It's usually easier to let go of the physical stuff. It's much harder with the mental stuff, but just try to let the next few moments be about you, be about your breath, and being about being in this moment with you and your breath. Stay with the props for a few breaths if it feels good, and then perhaps to move you into your full Shavasana, maybe move the props aside and just notice, just like we have been at the beginning, just notice what does it feel like to add the props and then remove them. As always, I won't stay with you for Shavasana, but please do stay for as long as you can. This is where I will leave you. As always, it's a pleasure to practice with you on YouTube Yogi. Until we see each other again, have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you.